My cherished one, something is shifting around you right now. Something urgent. Something heaven sent. Something Archangel Michael has been trying to push into your path for days. And today, he speaks with a voice that shakes the invisible realms. It's only for you. 5 minutes left. These words are not a metaphor. They are a countdown in the spirit. A divine timer that has already begun ticking the moment you open this message. Listen closely, because what you are about to hear is not casual guidance. It is a spiritual warning wrapped in love, protection, and destiny. For too long, you have been carrying a weight that was never yours. For too long, you survived environments that drained you, people who misunderstood you, battles that tried to swallow your strength. Archangel Michael has watched every moment. He saw every silent tear, every night your spirit felt worn, every time you hid your pain because you didn't want to disturb anyone. But now heaven has reached its limit. A divine shift is forming, and Michael is stepping forward with his sword of truth drawn. He says there will be massive changes in your life, changes so sudden and so transformative that they will feel like stepping out of a storm and into clear skies. And yet he adds a warning that you must not ignore. If you ignore this, I will never help. These are not words of punishment. They are words of urgency. A call for you to finally open the message meant for you, the message you've avoided, delayed, or pushed aside because life kept you distracted. Michael is telling you that certain opportunities, certain breakthroughs, certain protection, they operate on timing. Divine doors don't stay open forever. And right now, a heavenly door is cracked open just for you, but only for a moment. Heaven has seen the spiritual attacks that were sent toward you recently. They saw the confusion in your relationships, the sudden emotional heaviness, the unexpected setbacks. None of that was random. You have been standing between two timelines, one of breakthrough, one of breakdown. And the moment you watch this message, your spirit is choosing which direction your destiny shifts toward. Michael says, this change is massive. This change is final. This change is yours. But here's the part many people miss. Great blessings don't arrive quietly. They come with spiritual resistance. They come with distractions, delays, sudden emotional storms, anything that can pull you away from the message that was designed to protect your next chapter. And that is why Archangel Michael says, open it quickly. Because the longer you hesitate, the more the wrong voices creep in. The longer you delay, the more old energies try to pull you back. The longer you wait, the more the enemy tries to distort the signs you've been receiving. Right now, Michael is standing at the edge of your timeline, shield raised, sword lifted, eyes fixed on the path ahead of you. And he is clearing a road that leads to the breakthrough you prayed for but did not feel worthy of receiving. The reason this message feels intense, the reason your spirit feels alert, the reason your heart is beating a little faster is because you know this is not entertainment. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is a personal angelic intervention. Michael says you have 5 spiritual minutes to align yourself. Not literal minutes, but a symbolic period where your heart must come into agreement with what heaven is releasing. If you miss this moment, the blessing doesn't disappear, it just gets delayed. And delays are costly when your destiny has waited long enough. Your life is about to move in ways you didn't expect. There will be shifts in your relationships, in your purpose, in your financial path, in your spiritual protection, in your inner clarity, and these changes will not come softly. They will come like a powerful wind that sweeps away the old and plants seeds of the new. Michael whispers, your season of struggling alone is ending. But you must stay alert. Do not scroll away. What is coming next will explain everything. Before you move forward, place your hand on your heart for a moment. Feel that warmth, that pull, that subtle pressure. That's confirmation. Your spirit knows this message is for you. And the next revelation will unlock why heaven has been trying to reach you so urgently. Hold on, because what Michael reveals next will shake the foundation of your current reality. And you will thank yourself for listening. Type "I open the sign" in the comments if this is speaking into your spirit. Lesson code 144 is now released. My radiant one, as you step into this next revelation, I need you to take a deep breath, because Archangel Michael is opening something that has been sealed for years. This is not just guidance. This is the unveiling of a spiritual mystery that explains why the last season of your life felt so heavy, so confusing, so strangely delayed. Michael is not just warning you. He is exposing the invisible currents that have been shaping your path without your awareness. He stands beside you now, wings expanded, light burning brighter than the shadows that once surrounded you. And he says the changes are already in motion. You must prepare yourself. These changes are not coming quietly. They are not arriving like whispers in the night. They are approaching like a spiritual earthquake, a sudden shift that will shake loose the things that never belonged to your destiny in the first place. Michael has seen the forces that tried to hold you back. You watched as certain people drained your energy, took advantage of your kindness, or pretended to support you while secretly doubting every dream you carried. He saw the moments you pushed yourself to be strong when you were exhausted, the moments you kept going when giving up would have been easier. Heaven has taken notice. There are timelines in your life that were meant to open earlier, opportunities you should have walked into, blessings that belong to you, connections that were supposed to align, but something interfered. Not because you were weak, but because you didn't know the battle around you was spiritual. You were trying to fix earthly problems with earthly solutions, while the real war was happening in the realm you could not see. This is why Michael's voice is firm, almost urgent. If you ignore this, I will never help. He is not threatening you. He's awakening you. For too long, you minimized your spiritual intuition. You ignored signs. You brushed off warnings. You convinced yourself that everything was just coincidence. But deep down, your spirit felt the pressure, the shifts, the nudges. And each time you ignored them, the path became harder, heavier, more tangled. Now heaven is stepping in more directly, because your life is entering a turning point that cannot be missed. The old patterns cannot follow you into your new chapter. The old fears cannot exist in the environment where you are going. The old wounds cannot shape your decisions anymore. Michael whispers, you have been chosen for a path that requires clarity, and now clarity is coming. You may have noticed small signs recently, sudden moments of discomfort around certain people, unexpected desires to detach from old situations, fleeting waves of intuition telling you something is shifting. These were not random. They were precursors to the massive changes now rising in your life. Heaven always sends subtle tremors before the big shift arrives. But here is the part that most people miss. Before a divine breakthrough, there is always a divine exposure. Something hidden comes to light. Something falls apart. Something that once looked stable suddenly reveals its cracks. This exposure is not meant to harm you. It is meant to free you. Michael is removing illusions. He is tearing down emotional attachments that no longer serve your highest good. He is cutting spiritual cords that have drained you. He is clearing pathways that were blocked for far too long. You may feel a sudden urge to change direction. You may feel an unexplained pull to leave a certain environment. You may feel a strong sense that time is running out for the old chapter, because spiritually, it is. Michael says, your 5 minutes have begun. Your spirit knows what must be done. You might feel fear. You might feel uncertainty. You might even feel resistance. But don't mistake these emotions for wrongness. They are simply signs that the shift is bigger than anything you've experienced before. Sometimes the spirit shakes right before it expands. And now, listen closely, because here is where your path changes. The moment you accept what Michael is revealing, you step into alignment with divine timing. This alignment unlocks blessings that have been waiting behind the veil, blessings that were paused, not denied. Your finances will shift. Your relationships will transform. Your purpose will become clearer. Your intuition will sharpen. Your spiritual protection will strengthen. Your path will rise beneath your feet. But remember this: the ones who move forward are the ones who hear and respond. Don't be like those who get the message but never act. Your destiny requires your participation. Michael leans closer, his voice steady and powerful. You are not late. You are arriving at the exact moment heaven needs you awake. What comes next will connect all the dots for you. It will show you what is being removed, what is being rebuilt, and what is being prepared. Before you move on, take a moment. Let your spirit settle. Let your heart open. Because the next revelation will hit deeper than anything you've heard so far. Trust me, this is the part you don't want to miss. Type "I claim the shift" in the comments if your spirit is awakening. Blessing code 229 is now activated. My awakened soul, as you step into this next sacred unveiling, Archangel Michael stands even closer than before. His presence feels heavier now, not in a burdensome way, but in a way that tells you something enormous is about to be revealed. The air around your spirit shifts, almost as if heaven itself is preparing you for a truth you were meant to hear long ago. Michael's voice grows deeper, more focused, more intense. He says, "Now I will show you what has been blocking your life." These words are not gentle. They are not soft. They are not the kind of message you hear when everything is calm. No. These are the words heaven releases when something hidden must come to the surface. Something has been standing between you and the breakthrough that has always belonged to you. And Michael is done letting it operate in the dark. He begins by revealing a powerful truth. You have been carrying energy that was never yours. Someone in your life, whether past or present, placed emotional weight, doubt, or negativity upon you without your permission. You thought this heaviness was part of who you were. You believed this burden was your responsibility. But Michael says it clearly: it was their shadow, not your failure. And now that shadow is being removed. This is why your spirit has felt restless lately. This is why you've been sensing a strange shift in your emotions. Moments of sudden sadness, sudden anxiety, sudden emptiness, followed by moments of sudden clarity or peace. These fluctuations were not mood swings. They were spiritual signals. They were signs that something tied to your past was loosening its grip. Michael reveals that the blessing meant for your life has been trying to reach you, but old energy around you kept interfering. This interference came from people who doubted your calling, people who were jealous of your growth, people who wanted you dependent on them, people who only loved the version of you they could control, people who smiled with their lips but competed with their spirit, and some of these people are no longer in your life, yet their energy lingered. But here's the miracle. Michael is cutting spiritual cords right now. Cords of fear, cords of guilt, cords of self-doubt, cords of old identities that no longer fit the person you are becoming. He looks at you and says, You were never meant to shrink yourself to feel safe. Your destiny is expanding. Your spirit is expanding. Your life is expanding. And expansion always exposes what cannot remain. That is why certain connections have felt strained lately. That is why certain places feel different. That is why your intuition has been louder than usual. Heaven had been preparing you for a divine separation, not from love, not from people, but from energy that cannot follow you into your next season. And now comes the part Michael has been waiting to reveal. There is a blessing that has been circling your life like a bird searching for a landing place. Every time it tried to reach you, something blocked its descent. But today, Archangel Michael is clearing the landing strip. He is removing distractions, removing emotional fog, removing spiritual interference. The divine shift that was delayed is now accelerating. Michael whispers, a massive change is coming. And this time nothing will stop it. This change will appear suddenly. A message, a sign, an opportunity, a shift in your environment, a decision you didn't expect to make, a truth revealed about someone's intentions, a door that opens without warning, or a door that closes without explanation. Whatever form it takes, it will mark the moment your timeline resets. You are entering a window where miracles happen faster, clarity arrives sharper, and breakthroughs come with force. But Michael also gives one more warning: do not look back, because looking back anchors you to what heaven is trying to free you from. Forward is your direction. Forward is your strength. Forward is your divine assignment. And before this revelation settles into your spirit, hear this final line from Michael in this moment. You are stepping into the version of yourself heaven always knew you would become. Stay present. Stay open. Stay grounded. Because the next revelation will expose the exact change coming toward you, and it will make everything suddenly make sense. Before we move on, take a moment to support this message with your energy. Share your light in the comments, hit the like button, and make sure the message continues reaching those who need it. If this resonates with your soul, subscribe and stay connected so you never miss what heaven is sending your way. Type "I walk forward" in the comments if your spirit is ready. Blessing code 555 is now released. As this divine unveiling settles into your heart, let me speak to you with the same spiritual fire guiding this message. When Archangel Michael clears the path for massive change, the light must keep spreading. And today, God is using you as part of that light. I feel led to say this in first person. I invite you, right now, to sow into the very message that is awakening your spirit. Every seed you release becomes spiritual oil that helps another soul escape darkness, confusion, and delay, the same way heaven is helping you. When you support through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are fuel in a mission that heaven is urgently pushing forward. God says, what you release in faith, I will return in harvest. Your offering becomes a prophetic act, a step into the very breakthrough Michael is preparing you for. Move with obedience, not hesitation. Release your seed, and watch heaven release your blessing. My courageous soul, as the next revelation unfolds, feel the air around you shift once again. There is a calmness entering your spirit now, but underneath that calmness there is a trembling, not of fear, but of recognition. Your inner being knows something sacred is approaching. Archangel Michael moves forward with a steady intensity, the kind that only appears when heaven is preparing to reveal a truth that changes everything. He stands before you, his presence radiating with an authority that silences all confusion. And he speaks a line that pierces through the noise of your past, What is coming toward you is something you prayed for, even when you didn't have the words. Let that settle for a moment. Because Michael has seen the prayers you whispered on nights when you felt forgotten. He heard the thoughts you never said aloud, the quiet hopes, the fragile dreams, the fears you tried to hide from even yourself. And now, heaven is aligning those silent desires with a breakthrough that will feel almost unreal when it arrives. But before the blessing comes, Michael wants you to understand something crucial. Your life has been in preparation mode without you realizing it. All the sudden endings, preparation. All the people who left, preparation. All the delays, preparation. All the inner restlessness, preparation. All the times you felt like you were being reset, preparation. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Nothing happened against heaven's awareness. Michael reveals that you have just completed a spiritual cycle, one that was necessary for your elevation. You outgrew environments that no longer resonated with your purpose. You outgrew people who were not evolving at the same pace. You outgrew emotional patterns that kept you repeating the same lessons. And even though the release felt painful, it unlocked a version of you that is finally ready to receive what was always yours. Michael whispers, "You are no longer who you were. That is why your next chapter will not look like your last. Your energy has shifted. Your frequency has risen. Your spirit has awakened. But here's the part most people never understand. When heaven prepares you for a blessing, it must first remove anything that would sabotage that blessing. That is why certain connections suddenly felt unstable. That is why certain relationships cracked without warning. That is why opportunities you thought were right for you suddenly slipped away. Heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was protecting you. Michael shows you an image in the spirit, a doorway glowing with golden light. This doorway represents your next chapter. But standing outside the doorway, he points to shadows behind you, saying, "These shadows cannot follow you in." And with a single sweep of his sword, the shadows break apart. The chains of the past, broken. The doubts planted by others, gone. The emotional heaviness you carried for years, lifted. The spiritual interference blocking your blessings, cleared. You may not feel it fully yet, but something detached from your spirit the moment this message entered your life. It was subtle, but powerful. Like a spiritual exhale your soul has been waiting for. And now, Michael reveals the next powerful truth. A massive change is already on its way, and it will enter your life in 3 waves. The first wave will be internal. A shift in your clarity. A shift in your confidence. A shift in your intuition. You will begin seeing things with new spiritual eyes, including people's true intentions. The second wave will be relational. Someone will show their true colors. Someone will reveal their loyalty. Someone will expose their hidden motives. This exposure is not to hurt you. It is to free you. The third wave will be material. Unexpected opportunities. Sudden breakthroughs. Messages that confirm your intuition. Doors opening where you once saw none. These 3 waves are coming quickly, one after another, like divine momentum pushing your life into alignment. And Michael gives one more warning, spoken with a seriousness you can almost feel in your chest. When the shift begins, do not run back to what feels familiar. Familiar is not always divine. Your old life will try to call you back with memories, comfort, or nostalgia. But the familiar is where you struggled. The familiar is where you were unseen. The familiar is where you carried weight that belonged to others. The familiar is where your spirit dimmed itself to survive. Your new life requires a stronger, clearer, freer version of you. and that version is rising now. Michael steps closer, his presence enveloping you in a shield of protection, and he says, "The countdown is not a threat. It is a reminder that your destiny is time-sensitive. What is meant for you cannot be delayed any longer. Feel that in your spirit there is urgency, but not fear. There is pressure, but not panic. This is heaven aligning your timeline. You are stepping into a divine window where everything accelerates. Before the next revelation unfolds, pause for a moment. Put your hand on your heart. Feel it. That flutter, that shift, that is your spirit awakening. What comes next will open your eyes even wider. Hold on, the next unveiling is the one that changes your understanding of everything. Type "I step into alignment" in the comments if your spirit feels this shift. Blessing code 818 is now activated. My rising light. As we enter this next revelation, feel the atmosphere around your spirit becoming heavier with meaning. It's not heaviness of fear, it's the density of truth. The weight of something long hidden finally surfacing. Archangel Michael steps beside you again, but this time, his wings fold slightly, signaling that what he's about to reveal requires deep focus. You may feel a strange stillness within yourself, as though your soul is preparing to hear something it already knew but never had the words to express. Michael begins softly, yet with unmistakable authority. You have been watched over more closely than you realize. These words might seem comforting at first, but what follows is where the revelation deepens. He shows you moments in your past, moments when you felt abandoned, alone, unsupported, lost in confusion, and he reveals that heaven was closer during those moments than during your happiest days. Because your pain was not ignored, your suffering was not unseen, your loneliness was not dismissed. Every tear you shed carried a spiritual vibration, and heaven responded even when you thought no one heard. Michael says, the reason your life is about to change so drastically is because you survived what was meant to destroy you. Buzz here. Let the truth hit you. You endured storms meant to break your spirit. You faced challenges that would have crippled others. You walked through emotional valleys with no guarantees and no clarity, yet you kept rising again and again and again. Not because you were strong every day, but because your spirit refused to let go of hope completely. And heaven took notice. Now, Archangel Michael reveals something more personal, something that explains why the divine urgency in your life has intensified. He shows you a spiritual timeline, a path that was assigned to you long before you were aware of it. For years, you walked on the edge of that path, close enough to feel glimpses of destiny but far enough to miss full clarity. This is why your journey felt inconsistent at times, moments of inspiration followed by moments of confusion. You were circling the doorway without stepping through it. But now the doorway is open, and Michael says, you are stepping onto the path meant only for you. And here comes the deeper truth. The massive change entering your life is not random. It is the result of accumulated spiritual readiness. The strength you built, the lessons you learned, the intuition you sharpened, the resilience you developed, the boundaries you formed, the healing you began. All of it has created a spiritual signal that heaven cannot ignore, a signal that says, they are ready now. This is why Michael gave the warning, open it quickly. Because when a soul reaches readiness, heaven accelerates destiny. The countdown is not about fear, it is about alignment. It is about not missing the timing that has finally arrived after years of spiritual waiting. Michael moves closer, his presence surrounding you with a force that almost feels like a protective shield. And he reveals something that may shock you. The blessing coming toward you was delayed because someone connected to you was resisting their own transformation. Yes, someone around you, knowingly or unknowingly, was interfering with your spiritual forward motion. Their indecision, their confusion, their draining energy, their unresolved wounds, their unhealed patterns, all of it created a spiritual drag on your timeline. You carried emotional weight that was never yours. You tried to help someone who didn't want to help themselves. You tried to heal someone whose spirit was not ready to shift. And without realizing it, their instability became your delay. But that ends now. Michael has severed that spiritual entanglement. He has sliced through the energetic ties that link your progress to someone else's stagnation. You are no longer spiritually responsible for anyone's healing journey, but your own. You are no longer tied to their lessons, their indecision, their fear. Heaven has released you, and that release is what opens the gateway to massive change. Michael speaks with a voice that vibrates through your spirit. Your elevation no longer depends on anyone else's evolution. Its single truth marks the beginning of a new timeline for you. You will notice it in small ways first, a sudden burst of clarity, a shift in your emotional energy, a sense of peace that feels unfamiliar yet comforting, moments of unexpected joy without clear reason. This is spiritual freedom beginning to settle into your heart. And soon, you will see external signs, a door opening that was previously locked, a message or opportunity arriving unexpectedly, a situation resolving itself without your effort, a person revealing their true intentions, a new direction becoming unmistakably clear. All of this is part of the massive change Michael spoke of, the change that is meant only for you, tailored to your destiny, aligned with your spirit. What comes next will reveal the exact form of this transformation. It will show you how heaven plans to rearrange your life in ways that feel miraculous. Stay with this message, because the next revelation is the moment everything clicks into place. Before you move forward, let your spirit breathe. Let this truth settle into your heart. What is coming next is deeper, sharper, and even more awakening. Type "I am ready" for my shift in the comments if this is resonating in your spirit. Blessing code 303 is now activated. My chosen heart, as you enter this next unveiling, the spiritual atmosphere around you becomes undeniably charged, almost electric. It is the kind of energy that only appears when heaven is preparing to take you out of one chapter and launch you into another. Archangel Michael stands before you with a stillness that feels different from before. This is not the stillness of waiting, this is the stillness just before a divine announcement. His eyes narrow with focus, and he speaks with a clarity that echoes through your spirit. This change coming into your life is irreversible. You may not fully understand the weight of that yet, but the moment he says it, something inside you shifts, almost as if your soul whispers back, "I knew this was coming." Because deep down, you felt it, the tension, the transition, the subtle sense that the chapter you've been living in has reached its spiritual expiration date. Michael continues, revealing something that may surprise you. Heaven has already begun rearranging your path behind the scenes. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening. While you felt forgotten, your timeline was being rewritten. While you questioned your worth, heaven was preparing your elevation. While you waited for a sign, the sign was being prepared for you. The delays you faced weren't punishments, they were divine edits. The silence you experienced wasn't abandonment, it was alignment. The confusion you walked through wasn't failure, it was redirection. For months, maybe even years, your life has been quietly reorganizing itself. Not through sudden events, but through subtle patterns. A connection you thought was crucial grew distant. A dream you once chased no longer felt right. A desire you thought defined you began shifting. A path that once made sense started feeling too small. Those weren't random feelings. They were heaven redirecting your entire trajectory. Michael now reveals the heart of this divine shift. You are being moved into a reality that matches your spirit, not your wounds. For too long, life shaped itself around your pain, your fears, your survival instincts, your old identity. But now, your path is reshaping around your healed self, your awakened self, your divine self. And when that kind of spiritual alignment happens, everything must change. Your relationships, your opportunities, your surroundings, your desires, even your sense of self. Michael shows you an image, a field where old structures collapse so new ones can rise. He says, you were holding on to things that were too small for your destiny. You held on because it was familiar. You held on because it felt safe. You held on because you didn't want to lose what little stability you had. But heaven never intended for you to be confined by familiar comfort. Heaven intended for you to grow into divine purpose. That is why certain things recently felt like they were falling apart. They weren't falling apart to punish you. They were falling apart to free you. Michael's voice deepens. Something is being removed so something greater can enter. You may notice it already. A person pulling away without explanation. A plan suddenly collapsing. An opportunity ending unexpectedly. An emotion rising that pushes you to change direction. A truth revealing itself about someone's intentions. These shifts are not losses. They are spiritual redirections. And they are happening because your blessing cannot land where it doesn't belong. Michael whispers, do not cling to what heaven is releasing you from. This next change is not small. It is not temporary. It is not something you will question later. It is a shift that resets your life from the ground up. Michael reveals that this shift will begin with a sudden moment, an unexpected message, a revelation, a decision, or a sign. Something that hits your spirit instantly and makes everything clear. It will feel like your entire life just clicked into alignment. And once that moment arrives, it will be impossible to return to who you were before. Your relationships will evolve. Your purpose will sharpen. Your mindset will elevate. Your intuition will heighten. Your emotional boundaries will strengthen. Your blessings will accelerate. This is why the countdown in Michael's message mattered. Not because time is running out for you, but because your new season is already approaching, and heaven needs you awake, aware, and receptive. He leans in, his presence glowing fiercely, and says one more line that seals this part of the revelation. Do not fear the suddenness of what is coming. Heaven moves quickly when destiny is ready. Breathe that in. Let it anchor into your spirit. Because the next revelation will show you who this change is connected to, and why heaven waited until now to reveal it. Before you move forward, hold this truth close. You are standing on the edge of a divine shift that will rewrite your story in ways you never imagined. Type "I welcome the shift" in the comments if your spirit feels this truth. Blessing code 404 is now activated. My transformed spirit. As we enter this next sacred unveiling, Archangel Michael's energy intensifies in a way you can almost feel in your chest. It is not anxiety, it is anticipation. It is the sensation your soul experiences when a long-awaited truth finally begins making its way toward you. Michael stands taller now, his wings rising with a majestic force, signaling that what he reveals in this moment is not just guidance, it is identification. It is clarity. It is exposure of what has been influencing your life more than you realized. He looks directly into your spirit and says, this massive change coming into your life is connected to a person. The moment those words are spoken, something inside you shifts. You may feel a sudden stillness or a strange recognition, or even a quiet knowing that someone's energy has been playing a bigger role in your journey than you understood. Michael continues, his voice steady and filled with truth. Someone's season in your life has ended, and heaven is removing them so your blessing can enter. These words aren't meant to create fear or suspicion. They are meant to bring clarity to something your intuition has been whispering for a long time. There has been a person, someone connected to you emotionally, spiritually, or through your past, whose presence has been quietly affecting your destiny. Not always with bad intentions, but with misaligned energy. Their unresolved wounds, their instability, their inconsistency, their spiritual confusion, or their draining presence has been interrupting your elevation. And Michael is done allowing that interference. He reveals that this person has been tugging at your energy even when they weren't physically present. Their thoughts about you, their emotional pull, or their attachment to your spirit created a quiet heaviness in your life. You would feel it in strange ways: sudden exhaustion, random sadness, unexplained frustration, or emotional waves that felt like they weren't your own. This is not coincidence. It was connection, and heaven has now severed it. Michael says, your life can't rise if you remain tied to someone who refuses to rise with you. This person was not your downfall, but they were your delay. They were the anchor holding you to a version of yourself you had already outgrown. They were the emotional gravity pulling you back into cycles you were meant to escape. And even though you cared, even though you tried to understand, even though you hoped they would change, heaven saw that they were not ready for your level of transformation. You cannot carry someone into a destiny they are not prepared to walk into. And here is where the revelation deepens. Michael shows you a spiritual mirror, and in that mirror, you see a version of yourself standing taller, brighter, clearer. This is the version of you that your destiny has been waiting for. And Michael whispers, this is who you become once their influence is removed. You will notice it soon. A sudden lightness in your emotions. A peace that feels unfamiliar. A clarity that arrives without effort. A strength rising in your voice. A confidence awakening inside you. A sense of finally breathing after years of spiritual constriction. These are signs that the connection hath been spiritually dissolved. But Michael also reveals something more powerful. Not everyone who leaves your life is a loss. Some are divine exits arranged for your elevation. This removal is protection. This separation is alignment. This distance is progress. This emptiness is preparation for what is coming next. Heaven is not taking something from you. Heaven is clearing the space for something greater. Michael leans closer and says a line that vibrates through your entire being. Your blessing was being held back because someone was standing in a place meant for your next chapter. This is why the countdown was urgent. This is why the message felt intense. This is why your spirit felt called to stay. The shift has begun, and the removal had to happen first. Now, something extraordinary is preparing to enter your life. Something heaven approved. Something aligned. Something stable. Something purposeful. Something divinely timed. Something that will not drain you, confuse you, or pull you backward. The next revelation will show you exactly what, or who, that blessing is. But before you step into the next unveiling, let this truth settle. What is leaving your life is nothing compared to what is coming into it. You are being positioned for a rise that cannot be stopped. Type "I release what blocked me" in the comments if your spirit feels this truth. Blessing code 909 is now activated. My ascending soul, as we enter this next revelation, the spiritual atmosphere around you transforms once again. It becomes brighter, sharper, charged with a purity you haven't felt in a long time. Archangel Michael steps forward, with a presence so radiant that the very space around your spirit seems to expand. This is the moment where heaven moves from exposing the past to unveiling the future. Your future. The part that finally explains why the urgency was so intense, why the countdown mattered so deeply, and why Michael said, "It's only for you." His voice becomes a powerful stream of light as he declares, something new is entering your life, something heaven has kept hidden until you were ready. These words echo through your spirit like a prophecy awakening. For the first time in a long time, the heaviness lifts, and in its place comes a wave of anticipation. This is not fear. This is not pressure. This is divine readiness rising within you. Michael continues, revealing that the massive shift entering your life is not just emotional, not just spiritual, not just relational. It is transformational on every level. Your life is being realigned with your highest timeline, and what is coming is something you prayed for on nights when you didn't even have the strength to speak the words. Heaven collected those silent prayers, those quiet hopes, those desperate moments where you said, "If something doesn't change, I won't survive this season." And now change has arrived. Michael shows you an image of a sealed envelope glowing with light. He says, "Inside this envelope is the blessing meant only for you. No one can claim it. No one can interrupt it. No one can take it. This blessing is personal, unique, tailored, designed around your wounds, your growth, your resilience, your calling. It is something that could only be released once you reached a certain level of spiritual maturity, and that moment is now. But here's the revelation that may take your breath away. Your blessing is not just coming to you, it is coming for you. It is being sent with intention, guided with precision, aligned with divine timing. This isn't a casual shift. This is a destiny shift, a life reroute, a spiritual elevation that moves everything around you into a higher frequency. Michael whispers, "You will not have to chase it. It will find you." This blessing will introduce itself into your life through 3 clear signs, a message that feels divinely timed, a person who speaks with unexpected sincerity or clarity, an opportunity that aligns perfectly with your spirit. And when it arrives, it will feel impossible to miss, impossible to deny, impossible to question, because heaven is removing every obstacle that once stood between you and your divine inheritance. Michael continues, his voice growing even more powerful. You will soon understand why certain people had to be removed. Not because they were bad people, not because they were unworthy, but because they were not aligned with the future heaven is preparing for you. Some people only fit your past. Some people only fit your healing season. And some people simply cannot rise at the elevation you are stepping into. The blessing that is coming requires the version of you who knows your worth, who trusts your intuition, who honors your spirit, who no longer settles for what feels familiar instead of what feels divine. And now Michael reveals the most astonishing part. Your life will shift in a moment you least expect, and once it shifts, nothing will ever return to the way it was before. This is not temporary transformation. This is permanent alignment. This is irreversible elevation. This is spiritual rebirth. Your inner light will become stronger. Your decisions will become clearer. Your path will become visible. Your heart will feel lighter. Your energy will rise. Your destiny will accelerate. The countdown Michael spoke of is not counting down to loss. He is counting down to arrival. And before we step into the next revelation, the one that will show you exactly how this blessing will manifest, take a moment to anchor your presence here. Don't rush. Don't scroll away. You have no idea how close you are to the moment that changes your life forever. Engage with this message. To board its reach, lift it with your energy. Like, comment, share, and make sure you stay connected by subscribing. Every action keeps the message flowing to the ones heaven is calling next. Type "I receive my divine arrival" in the comments if you feel this truth rising. Blessing code 1221 is now released. As this revelation settles into your spirit and heaven prepares your blessing to find you, let me speak directly from my heart with the same urgency Michael carries. When God releases a message this precise, this timely, this divinely targeted, it means someone else out there is also waiting for their breakthrough, and your support helps this light reach them. I feel led to say this in first person. I invite you, right now, to join in this mission of awakening souls across the world. Every seed you sow through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes spiritual fire that pushes this message into the lives of those who desperately need it. God says, as you pour out, I will pour into you, and that promise becomes living when your giving becomes worship. Your support is not a donation. It is a prophetic act that aligns you with the very blessing heaven is sending your way. Step into this moment boldly. Release your seed with faith, and watch God respond with open heavens. My illuminated soul, as we move into this next revelation, the spiritual air around you becomes almost weightless, as though heaven has cleared a space for truth to land gently but powerfully in your heart. Archangel Michael steps closer with a softness that contrasts the intensity of earlier messages. This softness is not weakness, it is reassurance. It is the calm that comes when the storm has done its work and the light begins to break through. His wings fold slightly as he speaks, and you can feel the warmth of clarity approaching you like a sunrise. He begins with a truth that settles deeply into your spirit. The blessing coming toward you will heal something you thought would take years to repair. These words are not symbolic. They are literal. There is a part of your heart, quiet, guarded, fragile, that has carried an ache long enough. You learn to function with it. You learn to grow around it. You learn to smile through it. But heaven never intended for you to live with a wound forever. Healing was always part of your destiny. And now, Michael reveals that total restoration is closer than you think. Heaven had been orchestrating this change behind the scenes. The very timing of your awakening was planned. The restlessness you felt recently wasn't anxiety. It was spiritual preparation. The sudden desire for silence, reflection, where distance wasn't isolation. It was alignment. You were being pulled into a place where your spirit could finally hear what heaven has been trying to tell you for months. Michael continues with a depth that almost silences the world around you. You have been living in survival mode for too long. Your body survived. Your mind survived. Your emotions survived. But your soul was never meant to merely survive, it was meant to rise. The massive shift entering your life is not just a blessing, it is a restoration of everything you lost while trying to hold yourself together. It is a return of strength, a return of joy, a return of clarity, a return of the identity you had to hide while navigating seasons of uncertainty. And then, Michael reveals something even more profound, something that brings a sudden tightness to your chest, almost like a release waiting to happen. You have been carrying someone else's pain without realizing it. Their emotions, their fears, their expectations, their burdens, your responsibility. You held it because you cared. You held it because you loved. You held it because you didn't want them to fall. But heaven never assigned you to carry the emotional weight of another soul. Michael lifts his hand, and you feel a shift wash over your spirit. Like something loosening, something detaching, something finally lifting. He whispers, This is why you felt drained without explanation. The weight was never yours. The release begins now. Within the next days or weeks, you will notice subtle but powerful changes in your emotional world, waking up lighter, feeling peace without needing a reason, experiencing moments of joy that appear out of nowhere, having clarity where confusion once lived, feeling free from old inner battles that used to consume your thoughts. These are not coincidences. These are the symptoms of spiritual release. Michael shows you a vision, a path ahead glowing gently, with no shadows behind you. He says, your past will not follow you into this next chapter unless you choose to turn back. And you won't, because your spirit is finally ready to move forward without carrying old pain disguised as responsibility. Then he reveals the next truth, one that brings hope rising like a wave through your spirit. The change coming into your life is not small. It is the kind of change that resets your future, your finances, your relationships, your direction, your energy, your purpose, your confidence. Nothing will remain the same. Nothing will remain limited. And nothing will remain stagnant. This is why heaven warned you. This is why the message was urgent. This is why the countdown mattered. Because what is being prepared for you is too large, too sacred, too aligned to miss. Michael ends this part with a final whisper of reassurance, a promise that wraps around your heart like divine comfort. You are not walking into this shift alone. I am walking it with you. Let that sit in your soul. Let it hold you. Let it strengthen you. Because the next revelation will begin showing you exactly how your blessing will manifest and what you must do to receive it fully. For now, breathe. The path ahead is glowing clearer than ever. Type "I receive my restoration" in the comments if your spirit feels this. Blessing code 717 is now activated. My restored soul. As this next revelation unfolds, the spiritual atmosphere around you becomes deeply focused, almost sacred. Archangel Michael draws near with a gentleness that feels like a warm hand being placed on your shoulder, steadying you, grounding you, preparing you for a truth that will not only guide you, but empower you. His wings lower slightly, creating a shield around your spirit, ensuring that what you are about to hear lands without interference, without confusion, without fear. This is the moment where heaven shifts from revealing the past to equipping you for what is coming next. Michael begins with a truth spoken in a tone that carries both compassion and authority. The massive change coming into your life requires your participation. Heaven will open the door, but you must walk through it. This is not said to pressure you. It is said to empower you. Because the blessing on its way is not passive. It is active. It moves when you move. It aligns when you align. It strengthens when your spirit says yes to the direction heaven is leading you. You have been prepared for this moment through every challenge, every delay, every moment of clarity, and every moment of confusion. Nothing was wasted. Every lesson sharpened you. Every setback deepened you. Every heartbreak humbled you. And every spiritual nudge awakened you. Heaven was sculpting you, piece by piece, into the version of yourself capable of receiving this blessing without losing it, mishandling it, or doubting it. Michael continues, revealing something that may surprise you. Your blessing requires a new level of inner alignment. Not perfection, not constant confidence, not unrealistic strength, but alignment, the ability to choose what matches your spirit instead of what matches your past. Heaven is asking you to release patterns that kept you tied to old timelines, to stop returning to situations you have outgrown, to stop minimizing your intuition, to stop ignoring red flags, to stop doubting the signs heaven keeps placing in front of you. Because this next chapter cannot be lived with the mindset of the last one. Michael shows you an image, a door glowing with golden light, and in front of the door lies a shadow in the shape of your old fears. He says, the only thing between you and your blessing is the version of you that no longer exists. This is why you've been feeling internal shifts. This is why your desires are changing. This is why your intuition is louder. This is why old attachments are loosening. This is why your patience with the wrong things has grown thin. Your spirit is stepping out of survival mode and rising into divine alignment. Then Michael reveals a powerful truth. The enemy of your next chapter is not darkness, it is your hesitation. Not fear, not doubt, not opposition, but hesitation, that pause where your spirit knows what to do but your mind tries to negotiate with old experiences. Heaven is asking you to stop negotiating with your past. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Stop doubting the signs. Stop delaying your growth. Stop questioning your worth. You are ready, far more ready than you realize. Michael's eyes soften, and he speaks a line that enters your spirit like a divine reminder. Everything you want is already prepared. Heaven is only waiting for your yes. Your yes to releasing the old. Your yes to trusting the signs. Your yes to stepping into unfamiliar blessings. Your yes to believing you are chosen. Your yes to a future that looks different from your past. Because once your spirit agrees, heaven accelerates everything. You may begin noticing ideas flowing effortlessly, decisions feeling clearer, doors opening without effort, people showing up with intention, opportunities aligning perfectly, moments of sudden inspiration. This is spiritual momentum, evidence that the shift has already begun. Michael then reveals one more truth, a truth meant to strengthen you as the transformation draws closer. The blessing coming to you will require courage. Not because it is difficult, but because it is bigger than what you've ever received. Bigger than your fears. Bigger than your expectations. Bigger than your previous chapters. Bigger than what others thought you deserved. This is why heaven has been strengthening you quietly. This is why old fears resurfaced recently, to be released. This is why your spirit feels different, because it is. You are not who you were. You are who you were destined to become. Michael places a shield of light around your spirit and whispers, "Prepare yourself. The next revelation will show you how quickly everything is about to shift. Let that truth settle into your soul. Let it ground you. Let it expand you. Because what comes next will make you understand the divine urgency behind every word." Type yes to my destiny in the comments if your spirit agrees. Lesson code 414 is now activated. My awakened vessel, as we enter this next divine unveiling, I want you to feel the shift in the atmosphere around your spirit. It's subtle, yet powerful, like the quiet moment before dawn when the world holds its breath because light is about to break through. Archangel Michael steps before you with a sense of completion in his presence, as though everything he has been revealing has been leading to this precise moment. His gaze is steady, his energy centered, and his voice carries a calm that feels almost prophetic. He begins with a truth that lands deep in your soul. The massive change approaching you will not wait for anyone's permission. These words might feel intense, but they are meant to free you. For too long, you have adjusted your pace based on others' comfort. You waited for people to understand you. You waited for situations to become clearer. You waited for the right moment when things felt easier. But heaven is no longer asking you to wait. Heaven is moving, and you are being instructed to move with it. Michael reveals something powerful, something you may have felt but didn't know how to express. Your spirit has outgrown the environment that once shaped you. This could be a place, a Ghanaian, a mindset, a routine, a belief. You've been trying to fit a transformed soul into an old life, and the mismatch has been causing the inner tension you felt lately. The irritation, the restlessness, a sudden desire to detach, the unexpected surge of clarity. These were not emotional swings, they were spiritual signals. Alarms going off, heaven ringing the bell saying, "It's time to move." Michael continues, "The timeline you are about to enter was prepared long before you knew how to ask for it. This shift is not accidental. It is not random. It is not delayed. It is scheduled, divinely scheduled. Your soul has reached the exact spiritual frequency necessary to activate this new chapter. And because of that, heaven is accelerating everything around you. He shows you a vision, your name written on a book of destiny, and beside it, a golden mark highlighted in radiant light. This mark represents the moment heaven declared, "They are ready now." And that moment is now. Michael then reveals something that may shake your heart in the most beautiful way. You will soon receive something that confirms everything you have been feeling deep inside. It may come through a message you weren't expecting, a sign so clear you cannot misinterpret it, an opportunity that feels too perfect to be coincidence, a person speaking truth into your life with divine accuracy, a sudden shift in circumstances that lines up effortlessly. This confirmation will not be small. It will not be subtle. It will not be quiet. It will arrive like a breaking wave, undeniable, unmistakable, unshakable, letting you know with absolute certainty that the massive change is already unfolding. And here is the part Michael emphasizes with a gentle but commanding tone. Do not shrink when the blessing comes. Stand in it. Because sometimes the blessing arrives and people reject it because they still see themselves through the lens of old wounds. They question their worth. They hesitate. They fear losing it. They fear being disappointed. They fear stepping into something unfamiliar. But heaven says your time of hesitation is finite. Your spirit has matured for this. Your heart has healed enough for this. Your journey has prepared you for this. Your intuition is ready for this. Michael whispers a line that feels almost like a divine decree. You will not sabotage this blessing. You will rise into it. Heaven is not giving you something fragile. Heaven is giving you something fortified with divine timing, divine approval, and divine protection. Nothing meant for you will slip away. Nothing blessed for you will be blocked. Nothing aligned for you will fall apart. What heaven opens, no hand can close. And before Michael concludes this revelation, he gives you one more prophetic truth. Your next chapter will not require who you were. It will require who you have become. Read that again with your soul, not your mind. Because everything that felt heavy, confusing, or delayed in your past season begins to finally make sense in that one sentence. You are stepping into a divine transition where your spirit will feel at home for the first time in years. The next revelation will be the final unlocking, the moment where everything comes together at once. Hold this message close. Stay present. Stay open. Heaven is speaking directly to you. Type "I am prepared for my new chapter" in the comments if this resonates. Blessing code 515 is now activated. My destined soul, as we enter this final revelation, I want you to become fully present, because the air around your spirit is now charged with completion, with fulfillment, with divine certainty, with the energy of a chapter heaven has been preparing for you long before you even knew how to ask for it. Archangel Michael steps before you, not with urgency this time, but with the calm authority of an angel who knows the battle is already won. His presence radiates like a shield around you, and the heaviness you once carried no longer exists in this space. This is not the beginning of transformation. This is the arrival. Michael's voice descends like a gentle but powerful wave as he says, "The change you have been waiting for is already on its way to you. Nothing can stop it now." These words are not hope, they are confirmation. They are the divine guarantee that everything you endured, everything you survived, everything you held together when it felt like your world was collapsing was not in vain. You were not struggling aimlessly. You were being positioned. You were being refined. You were being prepared. You were being aligned with a destiny that could not manifest until your spirit reached this level of readiness. Heaven did not forget you. Heaven did not overlook you. Heaven did not delay your blessing out of punishment. Heaven waited because the version of you standing here now is the version capable of receiving what is coming. Michael reveals something that completes everything said so far. The blessing approaching you is not small. It is life-changing. It is identity-shifting. It is destiny-shaping. This blessing is the kind that rearranges everything, the blessing that shifts the way you think, the way you move, the way you believe, the way you step into your purpose. This blessing is the answer to prayers you forgot you prayed. It is the response to tears you cried in silence. It is the restoration of what you lost, the elevation of what you carried, and the fulfillment of what you hoped for in the deepest corners of your soul. Michael lifts his hand, and in a vision, you see two paths, one dim, one glowing. He says, "You are stepping into the glowing path. The dim one no longer belongs to you. This is why you felt disconnected from your old life lately. This is why familiar things no longer comforted you. This is why your spirit detached from certain people, environments, and habits. Your soul already began walking on the new path long before your mind realized it. And now comes the final prophetic truth. The one heaven has sealed into your destiny. Your life will shift in a moment that seems ordinary. But what happens in that moment will not be ordinary at all. Expected when you is expected. A message, a phone call, a sudden opportunity, a revelation that clicks everything into place. A breakthrough that requires no force, no stress, no struggle, only your readiness. This moment is not coming weeks from now. It is not coming months from now. Heaven is moving now. The countdown Michael warned of was never about fear. It was about alignment. It was heaven saying, "Do not miss what is meant only for you." Before this message closes, Michael places a mantle of divine protection over your spirit and whispers, "Walk boldly into what is coming. I will be with you through every step." Your story is shifting. Your timeline is shifting. Your identity is shifting. Your destiny is unfolding exactly on time. Take a moment. Breathe this in. Let this truth sink into the deepest part of who you are. Because after today, your spirit will never again return to the version of you that lived in waiting. You are stepping into fulfillment. Before we close this sacred chapter, lift this message higher by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Let heaven use you as a vessel to carry this light to someone else whose soul is waiting to awaken. Type "I step into my destiny" in the comments if you are ready. Blessing code 999 is now activated. As this divine journey reaches its completion and the mantle of your new destiny settles over you, I feel led to speak directly from the same spiritual fire that guided this message. When heaven releases a word this powerful, it is meant to travel far, to the hearts of others who are on the edge of their own breakthrough. And today, I invite you to join me in this mission. I ask you, personally, to stand with us and help carry God's light to every soul that needs it. Your support through Super Thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal link in the description is not just generosity. It is a prophetic act. It is a seed of faith that multiplies in the lives of others. God says, "What you sow into my work, I return an overflowing harvest." And this moment is your opportunity to activate that blessing. When you give, you help spread messages that heal, awaken, protect, and restore souls around the world. Do not hold back when heaven is calling you forward. Release your seed boldly, and may God send back to you in divine multiplication the very breakthrough you are stepping into now.